The plan for Christchurch has become a big battle. Landowners and developers fight the regulations against high-rise office buildings. The public insist on a low-rise city with a lively public centre where residents and businesses can coexist.
The large majority of people wanted low-rise buildings. When we did the economic feasibility study, which takes time, interestingly, in fact, 6 stories, when you look at the return on the building costs versus, the likely kind of rental, the best return was about 6 stories. So above 6 stories, you've got to have greater foundation depth, you've got to have stronger structures within the building. So there's a kind of threshold above that where actually the costs, go up much more than the return. So you have to build a lot higher than that to kind of, to balance, to get as good a rate of return.
The big problem with tall buildings is interesting because there's loads of research on this. You can ask a surgeon or you can ask a district nurse, what is the foundation of health? And they'll say more or less the same thing. Fresh air, exercise, meet people. And the higher you are in a building, the less likely you are to go in and out spontaneously. So it means the people in the buildings have more boring lives and you have much less life on the streets. So this thing about getting out, moving about, meeting people is really, really vital. And so I wanted to find a tool, a way of communicating what cities are about, but I wanted to find a simple way of talking about it. And what I discovered was, if you put a few pieces of Lego in front of people, people immediately start playing with them. I guess I was a Lego kid. I played a lot with Lego as a child. And you can discuss how dangerous Lego is in terms of you're kind of like the god in the world of Lego and you build things from above in this kind of helicopter perspective. That can be very dangerous for the city because you start building things because you can without thinking, what is it you really need? Welcome to the Lego workshop. We're doing 3 different tasks. The first one is to build yourself, then think about the kind of things you like doing in the city, and then build a model of the place you'd like to see in the central city. Okay? Cool.
It's like a tree, that's cool.
Oh, I think I made it.
And away, through these small scenarios, you can start building up pictures of what the city could be like. And I can think of something which would be really cool, because if you imagine we were just inside the buildings, we could be looking down at all this activity, and that would make us want to come outside and be part of it. This could be a starting point for talking about all these very complex city issues that we're trying to approach. Because if you start thinking about who's the environment for, who are we working for, it's for people.
On April 18th, 2012, the responsibility for rebuilding Christchurch was taken away from the City Council and placed in a new unit led by the national government. The government promised to respect the overall vision for the city.
The greatest strength that you have when I'm faced, for example, with central government or from a business community, some of who may say, no, we don't want these rules. I've got the ideas and the vision of my people here. Are you going to ignore that?
The City Council developed a legal framework called the Second Volume. This described restrictions on high-rise buildings and rules against parking. This volume was discarded by the government.
We've decided to accept Volume 1, but in the meantime put Volume 2 aside for a period because it will be premature, I think, to accept those rules and it would be most appropriate to review those rules as the blueprint is developed over the next 100 days.
The dilemma is difficult. The enormous rebuild will provide a massive boost to the economy if it attracts fast investments from developers, international hotels and corporations. But profit is short-term. So is political decision-making, with elections every 4 years. But cities are built to stand 100 or 1,000 years. It seems like you're at a tipping point right now between becoming LA or becoming Copenhagen.
Very much so. Yeah. Yes, and while I'd like to pretend that I'm in control of that, I'm not. Yeah, there are big economic forces at play really, which will shape the future of the city and the behaviour of people.
So there's a lot of talk about the future city of Christchurch, and it's very exciting, and yes, it will be green and cycle friendly, la la la. And I find that very exciting, but my kind of question is, well, what's going to happen now? Because are people just going to wait for this future city to be built? I think people need things to do now. People need to feel like something is happening. Gap filler provides a way for something to happen now. You get life in a city by not trying to plan for everything, by allowing things to happen organically where possible. Life comes when you give people a chance to contribute something, and I think that it proves that people need spaces to come and do that kind of thing, to just come and dance.
I guess there is this very difficult tradition which comes from the way we teach our